Good morning, afternoon, and evening, Supercoach elitists. Welcome back to our first video of 2024. This will be our draft channel. Our YouTube exclusive will be the draft, but find us on Twitter and Patreon at SC Elites, find us on Facebook, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube at Supercoach Elites. My name's Corey, and basically I'm just going to run through a draft, realistically. So, 12-man league, a 12-person league, I should say. I'll go through our draft settings to begin with, what we do, my thoughts, why we're playing like this, and where to go. So we are playing a 22 players league. It is a 12-man keeper and 12 people in the league. It's a 5 defender, 7 midfielder, 1 ruck, 5 forward, and 4 bench player setup. Probably one of the funnest ways to do it. A lot of players come off the board. It takes a little bit more strategy being deeper. Again, probably a little bit better in a 10-man, but 12-man leagues are fine as well. The reason for the 12-team keeper, it's a little bit of balance. I personally like less, so 8 to 10 keepers per year is a little bit more fun, I find. Makes the draft, again, reactive every single time that you do it every year. It makes the league a lot more competitive as well. And a little bit of better players are on the board. The first couple of rounds are always fun in a redraft. I've got leagues that I've been a part of for 5 years plus, but it is still good nonetheless, no matter what you do. So, we've got the 12 teams on. I'll go through our settings, and then I'll go through pick by pick. It is an ongoing free-flowing draft, so what I'll do is every time my pick's on the clock, I'll jump on the computer, I'll show you what's happened in the draft leading up. I'll also talk about my strategy. So, I've got a little bit of a different strategy. Hasn't really proven me wrong too far, especially in keeper leagues, but we'll talk about that as each pick comes up. So I can see in the team settings here, the players that are on. I will move myself out of the way. Sorry about that. I don't want to be sitting in your little pick section here. So you can do the custom leagues again this year. They've kind of added some really cool setting options in 2024. But we will only be talking about what we got on. So we got just the generic. Now, this league has a couple of vets in it. Some people that have done it before. But a lot of newbies as well. So basically, you want to keep it as fun, as exciting as the league can. We don't have the fairest setup when it comes to a 12-man league. Because we're running rounds 1 to 19. And then finals from 20 to 23. But what that is it's the most fun. Because you're playing every week. You know, you've got your games, you start from round 1, you play through buys, even though it can be really a bit of a struggle, but we still have it on. It's still, like I said, it's a lot of fun. Percentage on there, total points is something that I kind of ideally like when it comes to a classic league, but percentage for a draft league is definitely fine. Total points can be a little bit unfair, especially with the buys on as well, but I suppose it comes down to the percentage factor as well, too. The fairest way to do this would be play everyone once. But again, it's not the funnest, so we're all about fun with this league. Yeah, settings all there. Restart round 1. What we're doing is the draft comes on. Now, there's a couple of ways you can draft. If you can get a group of people together and do a live draft, best way to draft. It's so much fun having everyone in the room, a couple of beers, having a chat. No better way to draft. However, for the purpose of this and time and everyone being in the same location, we're doing an open draft. So basically the way an open draft works is it's essentially when you're on the clock, you come up, there's no timer, you can pick. You know, some people are like, it can take too long, but just bust everyone's ass when it's on your pick. So snake order, no draft timer. We are starting in 3 hours. I've set this to 5 o'clock at the time of recording. But as soon as our last person gets in, we will have this up. Couple of the league settings, rolling knockout. Yes, this is a big one. Enable captain. Do not have captains turned on in a draft. And the reason is it just puts too much weight on those first couple of picks. Those who have Bont, Tim Inglis last year, I think Gorm will be one this year, Clary. You know, your first 5 picks, they've just got such an advantage by having captains turned on. And I think captain is great in classic, obviously, because there's, you know, we can have the same players. But because you can't have the same players, do not have it turned on. The emergency factor, have it as auto recommended. There is the selectable per position. That's just going to allow too much loophole options. So definitely have it as auto recommended. Make this a keeper. Yes, 12 keepers, as we said. Again, I think that was the perfect balance for both the newbies and the ones that have been around here for a little while. So best way to do it. Everything else is basically good. Waiver order, always last pick to the bottom. You can have the bottom of the ladder there. The problem with that is because it's a keeper league, the bottom of the ladder can kind of stock up on these players. Or, you know, last year I remember our waiver wires, there was a stage where Hayden Young was there. I got Sam Flanders towards the back end of the year and just stashed him. And if you last pick to the bottom, it kind of makes that competition a little bit fairer, especially with less keepers on from year to year. Team to trade. Again, this is something I don't mind. There's league approval, commissioner approval, and free for all. League approval is basically the veto system. I think commissioner approval is the best way to do it. You trust your commissioner into the league, then you do it. And free for all is there's just absolutely no rules. If you can trust everyone, then cool. That's a Cowboy setting you can have. But yeah, we'll save our team there. We'll save the league settings there. Wait for the last person. And as soon as they're in, we're jumping on the clock. Okay. So it's now come to my pick. And before the draft, we randomised it, just the old school, randomised 3 times and sent it all across and done all that. And I ended up with pick 8. So not ideal in a 12 team, but I think it's good because we've got the snake. We can talk about the other picks and how we went. So Froth had pick 1, took Nick Dacos. Yeah, I'm probably taking Bont at 1. But there's nothing wrong with Dakes. He's going to do it for a very long time. So you're really picking at straws between the two. We get down to Mr. Steal Your Girl, who took Tom Green. An interesting one. Don't mind it. I really don't mind the Tom Green pick there. 23 years old. It is what it is. Tim English, again, number 1 Ruckman. Probably this year. Don't hate it. I have a strategy, and we'll talk about this, where I don't take rucks early. And the reason being is a 12-teamer, it's a 1 ruck spot. You're going to get a Ruckman. You're going to get one. So, that's just the way I draft. I'm not ruck heavy, never have been. Butters at 5, that's one that I'm kind of like, realistically, you probably could have got Butters come back to you on the turn, maybe, in that spot. But you're going to have the upside. There's no really wrong picks in this section. Like, there realistically isn't. Petrarca at 6, Jordan Dawson at 7. Now, the one that comes to my mind straight off the bat is Clayton Oliver. I mean, if we didn't have this news about, the preseason, the end of last year, Clary's probably pick 3. What is he? He's 26 years old from the top of my head. 26 years old, and I just think that he's been overlooked. Let's have a look at the players that are still on the board and who could potentially come back to me. The other one there is Errol Goulden. Now, I'm not going off the draft ratings. I've kind of moved it all around, done my own, little play without being, too fussy. I mean, I'm not going to take Rowan Marshall anywhere near here, but I've moved the likes of Goulden up, Davies, Uniacke up, Brayshaw up. There's a lot of those players, Sheasel up. So there's a lot in my mind. I like LDU, I like Goulden, I like Brayshaw, I like those young midfielders. Rory Laird's not one that interests me, and I think Rory Laird could come back, even as late as probably round 3. Now, there is a Crow supporter in here in Frothy, so I don't think, that's the one area that I think Laird might go. Those kind of players are fantastic picks at the right price. So we'll monitor that and see how we go, because he is still going to do 110-ish. More or less, give or take. But I'm going to go Clayton Oliver. And I just kind of shocked that Clary wasn't picked earlier. I feel like Clary's really fallen into my lap there. I'll take the draft and then we'll keep talking about it. So just a strategy that you're going to see from me here. The internet's been super slow, constantly freezing, but that's okay. Is I'm very midfield heavy early, and it's something that I've done in previous drafts, is just stack midfield. Sam Flanders, great pick for the year, but probably going to be a mid only next year. The Dacos is going to be a pick long term no matter what, because he's going to get a mid, but those kind of players that aren't, full DPP and go into midfield only, there we go, that's how long it took to get in there. Will's on the clock, D's nuts. Now, he is going to be absolutely filthy, I reckon, that I just took Clayton Oliver there, because I know Will is a Melbourne fan and he probably would have wanted him. We'll play around here. We've got the activity feed on the side, so probably get some notifications just before. I'm not going to sit here and wait the whole time. I'll hit the stop recording and we'll jump back on for our next pick and we'll talk about what comes off the board. But early days, LDU, Errol Goulden, especially with how slow this is going. Zach Merritt getting on in years. Sis Dog's always good. Tom Stewart. One that might slide. Like, if I could take a little bit of a gamble. There we go. Brayshaw just went off the board. If I could take a little bit of a gamble of what I think's going to happen, I think that Shees might go before Tom Stewart. Again, I did move that up the board, so that probably actually won't happen. Sam Walsh is another one I moved up. More glitching going on. Jack McRae's probably one that we might be able to pinch late, but again, we'll probably lose forward status next year. So you're really picking him for this year. Does that change things? Will it slide? Timmy T might slide. I'm not going to take Wits anywhere near the draft position. But yeah, Brayshaw going off the board. I'm not surprised. Alright, we'll leave that there. Oh, was that another pick? Nah, just lagging. Leave that there and I'll come back for the next round pick. Okay, so I'd pick 8. Clayton Oliver. Off the board was Brayshaw, Goulden, Dunkley, which I was a little bit surprised with so early just because of the age profile. I think Errol Goulden was a really good pick at 10. Sammy Walsh, I don't hate. I mean, we go back 12 months ago, he's probably top 3, you know what I mean? So, great pick. I've got him in another keeper league. Yeah, cannot complain about it all. Round 2, we had the Shees, which I was wondering, and I did say this where I thought he would go. And he did go a lot earlier than I thought. But we had a pracky match the other day where he had 42. So I think that's played a huge part in it. We're recording, it's Friday the 23rd as we're doing these couple of rounds. So hot off the press, hot off the game. I think if we done this draft a little bit before this, that probably wouldn't have been as high, but that's how these things go. Caleb Sarong at 14. The Resh Cat took that. He's a Freo supporter. This was the steal. This is an absolute steal. LDU at 15. Honestly, going back to round 1, like, I'm probably slotting LDU in. I'm probably taking LDU and Goulden at 9 and 10. Probably Brayshaw at 11. I think LDU, obviously there's the injury history, but when we got a keeper league, it's a no-brainer. What is he? He's 24 or 23, so 24 this year. Yeah, still. Zachy Merritt, always good pick. You know what you're going to get. 110 back into the season. It's an absolute blowout there. Let me just get back this way. So round 2, I'm on the clock. I have pick 17 here. We check players. So again, I couldn't believe Clary fell to me here. I probably would have taken Clary in the top 4. So on the board, having the Clary pick is an interesting one because for me here, it kind of sits there and looks at, right, you've taken Clayton Oliver, 26, 27, you've still got the ability to go youth in the future, which normally if you're doing a draft and you're kind of at the back end, it's not too hard. But when a player has fallen to me with the assets of Clayton Oliver, I'm definitely still in win mode now. Players that are here are historically, if it's not a redraft, if it's just a 1 year draft, like Max Gorn's huge, Tom Stewart's huge, Sicily's still huge and he's still super relevant here. Rory Laird, massive, Lockie Neal. But you got to remember, a lot of these players are pushing on to the 30s, late 20s, early 30s, which is why I think I might lean a little bit more towards Connor Rosie. There's a couple of others. Adam Chera, who's 24. Noah Anderson and Matty Rao are 2 that I really love here. I expect Chad Warner to jump off the board after his preseason game yesterday too. And another player that I absolutely love and I think is going to really kill it. Now, Sam Flanders. Let's talk about this because I think this will go early. I don't think it should go overly early. And I had this question the other day. Would you grab Flanders because he is a forward? Non-redraft has more value than the redraft itself. When we're redrafting every year, the Sam Flanders pick, he'll be a mid-only, is my guess next year. But could not be. So, it might add value there. Now, I'm really having an iron. Like, I think I did say that I was going to go the mid-only philosophy, but there's some insane players here. Tom Stewart may not get back to me. I really want to pick it, but I'm going to go the youth, and it's between probably Rosie and Chera. If you listen to the Carlton potty, I'm massive on Chera. Noah Anderson, I think, is going to be a long-term player too. I think I'm going to go Connor Rosie. Is it necessarily the right pick? Maybe not. Can he fall back to me? What have I got? Pick 17 and then round 3 I'm not on the clock until 30. These are the picks that I shouldn't even have to think about either. These are the picks that should just be relatively pretty easy. I like Stewart over Sistog just because everything that's happening at Hawthorn. Age profile relatively the same. Libby getting on. Gawn 32 is the worry. I think Gawn's going to go close to 130 this year though. So if it's a win now, it's picked. I think Gawn can come back. I think Romo may go before Gawn. Laird's a good pick as well. I think I can get Laird back. Actually, no, I won't because Frothy is an Adelaide supporter. Sinclair Young too. Good one there. But I'm going to go the mid philosophy. Let's go Connor Rosie. What can he average this year? That's the question. Can he be better than Butters? I don't know. Let's make sure I'm making the right pick. Luke Jackson's a really handy one. And if Shrek wasn't there, I think Luke Jackson would be really high. Probably higher. I think Chera and Edison both get back to me next round. Grundy's 29. Oh. This pick, though, Rosie has to be 110 for it to be super viable. The other one that I'm very interested to see where they go will be players like Harley Reid. Where does he get picked up? How high is it? Yeah, we're going to take Rosie. Let's see how this goes. I got a bit of a steal in Clayton Oliver. I don't know if I've got a steal in Connor Rosie. One that I wouldn't be surprised if he out-averaged Butters this year, though. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. Now, we're probably going to have a bit of a delay here, a bit of a lull. I know there's some people that are about to go to work and stuff like that, which is going to make it hard. People are probably going to get relatively pissed off with me too when I need to get back in front of the computer while I'm out this weekend. So this will probably drag on for a little bit. Hopefully we can get a couple more picks done today/tonight, and we can go from there. But yeah, we'll go the midfield strategy. I'll go real deep in the midfield, and then we'll see what works around that. I think this is kind of a helpful video, this one as well, because there are a lot of people out there who tend to grab the Tom Stewarts there or the James Sicily or if they come back off. If something presents so much value that I can't ignore it, I won't. I definitely will grab it. But yeah, we'll leave that there and I'll see you for pick 3. Okay, so we've had a costume attire change. One of many that's going to happen here. Connor Rosie, last pick off the board. Clayton Oliver, Connor Rosie. So going to that midfield little stretch here. Let's have a look at all teams. Head us back to round 2. Rosie at 17 was what I took. Jack Sinclair, defender off the board. Kind of going to start a little bit of a roll here. Dacos the early one, but the defence, yeah, just got it spiralling. So Sinclair off the board, Luke Ryan off the board. Noah Anderson by Mitch there. Love that pick, Mitchie. Age profile, absolutely perfect. 22, 23. Probably going to go 105 to 110 again. Could I see that higher uptick as well? Yeah, potentially. He's definitely got that in there. Rory Laird, this is ball don't lie. This is playing for the now is Perko. You can definitely tell the draft picks that he's taken along the journey. Let's have a quick look at this. Ball don't lie. Tim English, Rory Laird, Tom Stewart. So that age profile is not someone who's looking down the track. They want to win it this year. Doesn't mean you can't pivot and change. It is something that happens a lot, and I see it, and I'm kind of in the same boat right now. You know, Oliver Rosie, I'll probably go I am going another young gun here. I already know who I'm taking. Doesn't mean I can't pivot a little later down the track. Get some youth, 12-team keeper. They can be a little bit later too. We'll probably have flies during the year as well. But Rory led off the board. Romo, again, ruck. People like it. People don't mind taking them. They're set for the next couple of years. You don't get one of the top 5. Wait till later on. We're still going to go that strategy of mid-late. Adam Chera, another one. Phoenix picked a good one there. 24. I don't like what he's turned it with here, but we'll have a chat about that in a second. Timmy T. Head to round 3, and this is where I didn't like. So Darcy Parish. Taranto Parish, brave combination, but probably steady. I just think they're both, yeah. And Harley Reid, way too early. Phoenix, I think it's one that you can look at. probably in, your draft leagues that are 2 to 3, 4 seasons in, is an early pick. You know what your team's doing. I think it's not odd, but it's not a team. With pick 2 on the board, you probably shouldn't be looking too far. I reckon you could have got Harley Reid in a draft like this round 5, 6, so he's definitely reached. But Bont into Chera into Harley Reid, I just think you could have got another player averaging, 110 plus here, especially in that midfield. And Reid's going to do, 80s, 70s, 80s. You've kind of just taken a big hit. I think it definitely would have been there later down the line. So I don't like reaching for these ones. You pick ones over the year historically. Dacos, Walsh, Rao, they'll all do the same thing. Dake's off the board, Walsh off the board. Rao's about to be off the board. Disclaimer, that's my next pick. Loved it here. Had a quick look before. And then that defensive structure keeps going. Hayden Young, Tom Stewart. Ball don't like playing for light. Luke Jackson could be anything. Could be. Probably 90 as a forward this year, so you definitely take that. The upside is if something happens with Shrek, if he ends up getting traded in the future or injured, you've got the generational Ruckman moving forward with Tim English and Luke Jackson. Dan Houston just following that trend there. So I head across to players now. Gorney's one. Gorney's probably the first Ruckman I'd be tempted. And I know I'm trying to do the old midfield strategy here where it's just the pure mids as we move along and keep pushing it out. But I can tell you what, we come back to round 4, 5. If I don't go 5 and he's still there somehow, I'm going to take it. I expect him to be gone here. Realistically, the upside's probably a 120 to 130, I think, this year. The age profile, though, for the keeper league here with what I can get is not ideal. McRae's one that should be off the board very shortly too. And I'm expecting probably the next 5 or 6 picks. Bolton's one I love. Going into this. So there's still Ruckman floating around. Matt Rao is where I'm going to go. And again, it's like I just said with Anderson almost called him Ainsworth then. They're these 2 kids that I just think are going to stick around. The average of 102 last year. I'm expecting 105 to 110. Could be higher. He's a contested beast who tackles. We're going to get it for a long time. And that's the thing you need to have in these keeper leagues is injury apart. What's going to do? Chad Warner's one here as well. I've got no problem either way if I went Warner or Matt Rao on this pick. But it's the age profile with the points. Sam Flanders, sexy too, forward, but will probably be a mid-only next year. So they're things that come into my mind when I'm on these clocks. But, 2, 3 rounds if it comes back around, who will I take? So we're starting to get into that middle end where riskier picks will be done. And I think that's where, and we'll talk about it later, but I think that's where I'll start looking at the older age profiles there. Your Jeremy Camerons, your Tom Mitchells. A lot of those ones here. But I'm definitely going to take Matt Rao with my pick 3. And that's just a solid foundation that I'm trying to form. These are 5, 7s. When you got 7 midfielders, attack the midfield. They're your points. They're your longevity. The defenders and the forwards come and go, right? We're going to get them this year. I think we're going to have, even the likes of your James Jordans and your Harms and those forward ones that just pop up. I picked in my other league, I spoke about this before, I picked up Ned Flanders. Stupid, sexy Ned Flanders at the back end of last year and stashed that. So if you're active, which we will be weekly on this platform, there's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of things you can grab as well. So that's handy there. We will leave it and I'll be back for pick 4. Okay, so we had Matty Rao with our last pick. Coming off the board was Libba from These Nuts. So I assume These Nuts may be a bit of a strategy. Yeah, Merritt, Libba, Brayshaw, McRae, which is the next one. We'll go to round 4. That's a great pick there, McRae. Something that I was hoping for. We want... pick history, still working. Tom Laboratory, Sean Darcy, which was one that we waited a long time for, so it was an overnight Obviously, back up recording in the morning. Sean Darcy went off the board. Max Gawn. I probably would have taken Gawn before Darcy. I know Oscar is all we do is win and has the combination of Goulden and LDU. And I get pairing the Sean Darcy for the long term, but I think with those two players, you got potentially two players that have an upside of 110 plus. Probably would have paired Gawn with them as well, or even Brodie Grundy. So the rucks are starting to come off the board. So this is great for us for the purpose of this video that are looking at kind of that mid-heavy build. We'll grab a ruck real late and we'll see what's hanging around. So round 3 was concluded there, and this is kind of where it was a bit of a dagger because when we're on the clock, Lockie Neal, Chad Warner, Jack McRae. So the Treloar one, don't really understand it. Probably would have preferred McRae there, to be honest. Big time. Especially for someone who's spoken about building for the future. Collingwood supporter, so ex-Collingwood player. But building for the future and then pairing Darcy over Gawn and then grabbing Treloar. I'd much rather than McRae. So, haven't done a lot of looking into this, so we will be having a look live. Bolton's one that I really like. Mid-forward, just that forward option. I think we're going to have a pretty good year this year. I think he's going to be the boy there for a while. Sam Flanders at round 4 now starts to become interesting too. Because if he does have that split and goes 100, should be good. Josh Kelly as a mid-only. Yeah, starting to get on now. Kelly injuries are a worry. Toby Green, Nank. Full disclosure, I've kind of done a little bit of research before I come into each pick until this one. We will be a little bit more prepared for pick 5. Will Day, Rob, Heaney. I still prefer Flanders. Howe, Tom Mitchell. I did want to keep it in the mids, but I think they're starting to become a little bit dim, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to grab Pendlebury ahead of Flanders, especially with that age profile. And I wouldn't mind seeing now if I grabbed Flanders, what happens. Is it does the shift go to the forward line? And that's something you'll normally see. We had the defensive one at the start and then the mids, and now we're going to a forward line shift. How old's Josh Kelly? Give me 1 second. I think he's getting on to 28, 29. Yeah, 29. Absolutely scrap that. Been there forever. I think it's going to be Sam Flanders. I know I spoke about just going that mid-centric route, but I think that the forwards that are here are too good to pass up on. Doesn't hurt. Pivoting's always good. Age profiles are there. Yeah, let's do that. Sam Flanders. The double Gold Coast is a little bit odd. Probably not a team that I want to have all my apples in, but you know, they got a bit of hype this year, and yeah, it's there. So that was pick 4. Wait, see what happens to pick 5. So we hit round 4, and I had Flanders come off the board. For myself, let's check what happened next. So back to round 4. Some interesting shit's going on, I can tell you that much. So this Adam Treloar pick here, fuck me dead. We waited 24 hours for this drunk idiot to come and pick Adam Treloar ahead of Jack McRae, Sam Flanders, Josh Kelly, Will Day, Touk Miller, Jai Newcomb, Jack Steele, Shai Bolton. Like, round 5 comes along and it gets even funnier. I mean, Cornelia, Colby McKercher in round 5 from Phoenix, who's already drafted Harley Reid, Bont, Chera, and McKercher. It's a 10-year plan down there, I can tell you that much. Jaden Short, Caleb Daniel, Paddy Cripps off the board, Brad Crouch. So one thing that I'm commonly noticing with this league is that, and this happens in a lot of leagues, so it is something to look out for, especially if you play with novices and people who don't spend that much time playing draft. I mean, there are a couple of teams in here that I like what they're doing, but it seems to be this little window. I almost pointed at it then. From here probably down to 20 or 30 players, right, that are constantly just that draft pool. It doesn't look like too much scouting forward. And I think that when you are doing your drafts, I mentioned this earlier, if you can preset, it helps a lot. But what you like looking for the future, DPP hunting helps too. I mean, I've had a bit of a scroll, but names that pop out to me, and I'm really kind of and ahhing how I do this, more just for the video content than anything. But names that pop out to me, Martin from Essendon, who we're assuming is going to get that defensive role, should score well throughout the year. He's a mid-only. You just got to scroll down. Horn Francis is the one. Now, let me make sure he's not off the board. Because, yeah, he's not. And they've got him in a draft rank of 82. Now, the Horn is one that I just think that in a keeper league shouldn't be going this far. I've got Rosie here, so I have to tie them together, which isn't ideal. He's 20 years old. Fuck me dead. There's no way he could be that far down. And the funniest part about this is your Horn Francis. What's the Brizzy Bears one? The Brizzy Lions, I should say. Ashcroft. Horn Francis and Ashcroft sitting on the board. Like, your Colby McKerches and Harley Reid, they shouldn't be going ahead of Ashcroft and Horn Francis. And it's funny, he's ranked the 86th player. So they sit around that same mark. This is 86 from the current players available too. I just think that I reckon I can get back around to them. I'm after this. I'm like another 10 picks away. And I reckon Horn might still be there. I don't know if anyone's got that kind of in-depth look. I don't know. Yeah, I said Max Holmes. But this is the thing here too. Slide down a bit, yeah? Alex Witherden could be anything this year. Right? Wouldn't be surprised if he was top 6. Hinge could be top 6 this year. So it's kind of that format too, that there's the Horn there. You've got to remember those kind of players as well. And I think a lot of what happens is the good Supercoach players in cash cows start to become picked higher than they should. For instance, Ollie Wine. Horn over Wines every single day of the week in this keeper league. Every day. Like, it's super simple there. Coleman at 58, kind of like draft stocks rising. But yeah, like Fife. We're going to play midfield, so that's probably a bad example. James Jordan, for instance, probably starts to sneak up a little bit higher than he should. But you should be looking at these kids. I like Fish. So I just wanted to deep dive Wardlaw, another one. One that just is perfect for this league. Should have been, same team. Should probably be taken ahead of McKercher. Look, it could be either of them that becomes good, but yeah, then you can understand my point. I'm not going to let Horn go. I'm not going to let it go because I'm not going to take the risk. Here, I also don't mind Dusty because he's a forward. But again, 32, you got to realise that that's going to go. Toby Green, Whitfield, Lloyd, like they're the good, the play nows. I think we're kind of decided here that we're going to build a little bit of youth, but also target some big names. Or Nick Martin will be gone. This is the one. Let's see how we go. Number 34 on the current ranking list. Does Nick Martin get back to around to us? If there was a defensive status in that already, I don't think so. But as a mid-only, I think it will get back to us. We're going to draft Horn Francis. Don't be afraid to go down. Like, it's not too early for this. The kid's 20. He's every chance to be Melbourne. Where did I even read Melbourne from? He's every chance to be Port Adelaide's best midfielder in the next 2 years. So we're going to draft Horn. We're going for the future. Our average age profile is extremely young. So if we can keep this keeper league around for a while, it's going to be very, very good. Whereas I think a couple of the others have almost made the mistakes of a little bit all over the place. Let's have a quick rank just while we're doing this right now. I've probably spoken for a little bit too long here. Green, Arshel Young, Jai Newcomb and DeGoey. Again, nice little call from Mr. Steal Your Girl. Ball Don't Lie. English, Rory Laird, Tom Stewart. This is a win now at all cost here. So every pick that comes forward here has to be basically best available player in the position. There's no point looking at youth. That's the number one win now team so far. Resh Dogs Cats. Still another pick. I think he's on the clock now. That's not a bad little call there. I mean, realistically, you should look at any team. Like, fuck me dead. What is this? Will Day. Way too early on Will Day. Luke Jackson, yeah. Noah Anderson, nice. Zach Butters, I mean, at 5, I still probably would have preferred Oliver. But, like, who's Port Adelaide's best mid? We're going to assume it's Butters, but in the next 3 years, is that still the case? Can Rosie get better? Can Horn get better? Who's going to take it? Phoenix, by far the worst draft so far. Not even close. And it started like an absolute house on fire. The first 2 picks were insanely good. Everything from there. Jack Steele's alright, but everything else is... I think that would have been better than Jack Steele. All we do is win. Oscar again started so fucking well. Like, look at this. He got an absolute steal in LDU. Darcy, okay, but Gawn was on the board. Like, this could have been build for the future and win now. And this pick here in Treloar is shithouse. Millsy. Trap. Ryan. Probably a bit early. That's okay. That's when defenders start coming off the ball with Houston. Callie Cripper. This looks like a win now too. And I don't hate the win now theory. This... Yeah. Love. Can't kick. But we'll rack it up. And ding dong dang ding danger. Yeah, like this. I like this a lot, actually. This is a great combination. The Sheasel pick seems way too early, but we said that. Pracky match. Hot form. They were good. Okay, that'll do this. And pick 6. Horn Francis at 56. So we've come out of that with D's Nuts taking Kieran Briggs. And I think that's just a ruck kind of stretch, maybe... worried situation. I mean, I wouldn't really have Briggsy sitting there at all, to be honest. Ridley, with all we do is win. Don't hate it. Probably the ball user. Dylan Moore, Resh Katz. That's probably a little bit of a sit on it while he's got the glandular fever. Nick Martin, great pick. We spoke about this before. We spoke about what was going to happen, where Nick Martin was going to go. Would he get back around to us? And it didn't happen, but... I heard rumours in the chat when I took Horn Francis that Horn wasn't getting back to the next round either. So I think we made the right pick there. Going to the start of round 6 where Ashcroft comes off the board. And I think that might have been a little bit too early. I understand what it is. Ding dong dang dang dong dang danger. Taking Ashcroft with the pairing of Nick Martin too. So Dang's starting to look at the future there. Mitchie Owens with Resh Katz. I like Owens. Again, probably too early. Lockie Whitfield. Like that pick with all we do is win. And then D's Nuts took Redmond. So we jump back into our player pool. So I had Nick Martin down as a watch list. Got a little bit of a watch list on pen and paper going on too now that I went and had a look at it. But again, we're going to start scrolling down because there's some big names here. Now, I tell you what. We get into round 7, 8 and Dusty's still there. I'll probably have a play. I probably will have a play. One I'm very interested on this year is Isaac Heaney, and I know that they've got a lot of players to come back, but the role of the midfield role that he had the other day, there was a lot more CBAs. Now, if that continues, that average can probably push up back to around the 95 to 100, and I don't mind it, and it could even be more, depending on what he does there. So, Heaney's 27 as well. He seems a lot older, just because we've been selecting him for many, many years. I don't think Heaney will come back. Kenny Coleman, one that I've bookmarked. I think he was a little bit lower down. Callum Mills is an injury one that I think we'll get a little bit later. Keaton Coleman still ranked 50. So Coleman, we could probably get in a couple of rounds too. 23, 24. Benny Keys. Obviously, there's the older ones. I don't mind Fife. I don't mind Yo. But again, I think Yo's one that there's a lot of people who are going to be worried about. So I think he'll sit around the board just because of injury. The 30. So I reckon we might be able to get him around 10, 11, 12-ish. Same with Fife. I think Fife might be a little bit more popular because he's the cash cow option. Bazza, real late flyer. Take a late flyer around. These are the two I like here. And I think I might take Mitch Hinge here. It'll be Hinge or Heaney. I I might go the forward. I know I don't have any defenders yet, but I'm not worried about defenders. They bat real deep and we'll get some okay ones. Forward will be okay too. They all sort themselves out. For what I wanted to do, I'm probably one midfielder short. But I don't want to take one of those real old ones of where I'd like to be. But in saying that, I can't complain with Flanders either. Let's talk to Zach Fisher in our chat too, which I think is way too early, but he might jump off the board. Georgie Wardlaw, I've got booked mark. Holmes, I've got booked mark because I think he'll become a defender as well. Gotta ask myself here, who's more likely to come back around to me, Isaac Heaney or Mitch Hinge? And I think maybe just because of Hinge's spot, this is kind of the worst one because this is where my picks become about 14 picks apart. I'm fairly confident because I know there hasn't been a shit ton of midfielders taken, and if I take a forward, we might start a run of even more forwards being taken. So I'm going to grab Isaac Heaney, and I'm pretty confident that defenders will come off the board. Forwards will start coming off the board. So that's probably going to force Dusty off the board. And we'll see how we go. But I think Dusty will jump off. Yeah, because we're getting real short on forwards here. Cameron will jump off. And I think that might be the main ones. And that might even force a Zach Fisher to go higher up. Fisher I love. He's going to be a defensive forward. I just don't want to reach on it. Heaney. Just for full transparency here, I think Dustin Martin outscores Heaney quite comfortably this season. Anywhere between probably 5 to 10 points. But I've got the years in Heaney. I'm going to take Heaney. Bit of a different one for me. I'm not really big on it. Like I said, I wanted to stay around the midfield. Let's have a look. If there was a midfielder I was going to take, Docker's probably. Parker, I'm worried about the forward time, as I just took Heaney. Luke Parker should be a forward by the end of the season, I would say. Tom Mitchell, I don't mind. Again, age profile a little bit old, but as far as the mid goes, I think he'll have an okay mid. TA, not in draft. Yeah, mids are getting light on, actually. Matt Crouch is still there too. And then we get down... what have I got on here that I like? Wardlaw. James Jordan, too, is one that I like, 22 years old. And then we're starting to get into some real kids before I take some of those primos. So, next pick on the clock is Mitchy Hinge. And I'm going to put that in there. Just so it's there sitting there. I know I haven't done that a lot this time. But let's see how we go. Let's see if Mitch Hinge comes back around to us. At all. Heaney comes off the board for me here. We already knew that. After that was Ollie Wines with the Relaxed Maniacs. One of those picks that definitely is a go now because, like I said, we got Horn Francis, Rosie, who I've grabbed for the future. Ollie's not one I love. Tim Kelly play now. I know Millsy is. Wanganeen Miller, not a bad pick. I actually like it. I think this guy could be pretty special on the offensive front in that St Kilda team and might score okay moving forward. Huey McCluggage, yeah. He's playing now. It is what it is. Blakey. Tristan Zeri, good ruckman. Probably would have taken it a little bit later. But like I said, these are the ruckmen that fall into that category now that, you know, he's 400k in Supercoach, so people are thinking about him, so he pops up on the radar. You know, are there better ruckmen on the board? Let's have a quick look. Look, they're not necessarily better, but there's ruckmen that I think are around the mark and are super serviceable. You know, I wouldn't be angry with Rob, Nank, Omac, Cameron. Flenny will ruck this year and will get the job done. They start emerge. Toddy Goldstein. The Pit. So there's still plenty of ruckmen around that I don't mind grabbing late. It's starting to get slim pickings, but these names here are very serviceable, and I think most teams have taken a ruck already. Soldo will do a job, depending on him or Sweeten. And that I'm fine streaming that throughout the year too. Like, if they're playing solo ruck, Port could be one that you have a look at that combination that, all right, I'll take Soldo. Soldo gets dropped, I switch it to Sweet, because no one's jumping on those players. Like, most people when they're drafting, and this is late in the draft, they're probably thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to pick Soldo because I don't know if Sweet's going to be there. I'm not going to pick Sweetie Soldos. You can get them real late, and you can just stream them week in, week out. If Soldo gets dropped and you drop him, no one's picking that up. Like, no one's going and grabbing that. So, I don't think you have to stress at all about that. Anyway, let's not go too far off topic. Let's go back to the picks. So, I mean, we got off Rucks there. Jerry, Liam Baker, going to round 7. Some names here. Right, Jared Witt's frothy. Again, Ruckman start to go off the board. People start to panic. He's probably the last top tier Ruckman. Probably not top tier, but that tier maybe just below. And that's where he got categorised. And that's where you don't want to miss that. That's more of a panic grab, I think. But Witsy at 73. I mean, not too bad. The other draft league that I'm in, I picked Wits last round a couple of years ago. Like, the game develops, it changes, redrafts, you can get there. So keeper leagues, it's not as important as a redraft league. Like, if this was one season league, Ruckman are pretty vital. But in a keeper league, you find them, they come on, you keep them for years, no stress. Kitty Coleman, age profile, perfect. That's a good pick by Phoenix, I think. He's very popular in the the normal format, and I think he deserves to be, around here. Viney, yeah. Will Power, yeah. Could have a good year. I'd say high 90s. Bailey Daly the same. If he gets that solo role and Caleb Daniel stays away. Charlie Curnow, I should say. Yeah. Don't mind it. It's there. That's the pick. I thought more forwards would have started to drop off the board, but it seemed to be the defenders, and that's probably the track. Mitchy Hinge. That was my pick, Scotty. That was my pick. It was the only pick all draft so far. This video that I've kind of said, yep, that's what I'm doing. Let's see if it gets back here. Hadn't spoken to him about it, and it's dropped off. So, okay. Now, have a look at my team, and I really like it, actually. I really, really like it. I think I've got a very, very healthy mix of stars who can do it now. The forward line players, and I'm actually thinking about kind of creating some forward line drama here. Let's have a quick look. I didn't want this to go through too long, but Steal Your Girl, no forwards. And he got the ruck, midfielders as well. I'd say, yeah, probably better than that there. Ball Don't Lie, no forwards. Resh Dog, the 2 Machida Owens, I love that. I think in a couple of years that's going to be really good too. Let's follow this pick. I reckon Resh Cat might panic a little bit here because he doesn't have a defender. And I'm going to predict his next pick, he'll take a defender. So we will check that out. 28-0. Couple of forwards. Phoenix is going to be in some real trouble. All we do is win. No forwards. Millsy's mob. Only Charlie. Yeah, so we can create some big time. Bolton, Baker, Taranto, Frothy. You are... I like Bolton though. Ding dong dang dong 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 danger. No forwards. So let's really put the pressure on McRae. Things to look at in a draft too, and this is why these drafts look good, because you can start... Things that you do can start to influence where people go. And I don't mind if people want to reach up for some of the forwards that they're going to. Did I miss something? Did I miss a pick? Yeah, all teams. Itchy Hinge, round 7. Round 6. Okay, players. What's... Oh, no. Oh, dickhead. Doop. I'm still on Ruckman. I'm like, what's going on here? Probably clear the filter and put it back. I think that if I take one of Dusty or Toby Green here, and I like the Dustin Martin upsides. The age profile doesn't fit my team too well, but there's no harm, and I said this, taking best available and then looking late. If Dusty stays a forward again at the end of the year, it could be handy. How long's he got left in him? But we start having a look at the forwards here. I don't love Dane Zorko. I think we can force Dane Zorko to be taken shortly. I think we can force TA to come off the board. And Taylor Adams doesn't have the same value in like a keeper league unless it's a team that's going now. Because I'd imagine TA is probably going to lose his forward status come the end of this year. In which case you don't really want him. I don't know if I'm just being too optimistic on Dusty. But I reckon I could almost create a wave here that I could get Jake Lloyd. Dockers I don't really love, but I can get one of these Lloyd Newmans. Another one I really like is Witherden. Duggan I don't mind a flyer on, but you got to hope the roll gets there. And Matty Crouch. I think I can take the focus away from the defence and the midfield and bring it back to forward line plays just off a pure panic. Fife's interesting. Fife's very interesting because he's playing midfield. I don't know after that Pracky game yesterday that Fife comes back. I definitely know Dusty doesn't. Elliot Yeo I like too. Alex Witherden. So you can see that as a draft goes on, you can start drafting pending on influence. And I think 3 forwards, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Dustin Martin. Let's see what happens, but my projection is here that we force some forward grabs and people start reaching. Maybe Zach Fisher comes off the board and stuff like that. And let's see if we can influence the market enough that in our next 8 picks we can almost tee up a Jake Lloyd or a Newman back, or maybe even a Witherden, and we'll keep that profile. Hearn gone now, Witherden becomes super handy. Let's see what happens. So it didn't have quite the effect. Dusty, Jordan Clark. Okay, winger for Freo, played good yesterday, whatever. And then we had Toby Green, Rankin come off the board. Newman went 2. Newman was one I didn't mind as well, to be honest. And then Nat Fife. Yeah, that's a forward. That's a forward that, I'd say I had a look at Will's team before. What did he do? D's nuts. Sorry, relax, maniac. Why did they not? Oh, yeah, these nuts. Why did they? Oh, because you put him in the midfield. Yeah, so that's someone who's kind of had a look and been like, okay, great that midi. Maxi Holmes is a great pick there from Danger. I think you'll get defensive status. Really like that. Really like that. Is Come Express, I should say. Is he still? Derp. He's still on the board. Sam Taylor, yeah, this is the one I like this year. The Come Express. I think you can do it like I'm not picking it now, but it's one that's going to come back real late, I think. Prediction: Jake Lloyd came back around, and I get it. It's it's probably mid-90 average this year. So yeah, one that was Titch. And I reckon I kind of felt like earlier I left that midfield spot probably a premature pick, but I don't mind because I've stacked up on the forwards here. I think Tom Mitchell, it could be very good for my team. And I know everyone keeper league, what are you doing, blah, blah. He can't really play anywhere else. And he had a very, very good finals campaign last year. Let's have a look at this. What was the back end of the season? The back end wasn't fantastic, and I meant AFL finals. But like these scores could be very, very handy, and that's all you need in a draft is consistency through here, through this little patch. Dakes probably plays more midfield time. It was Tom Mitchell and Adams. Adams did get injured last year though, and then that score seems to dip a little bit. Well, he did have injuries to the back, niggles to the back of the year, so they're probably getting him ready for finals. Crouch. We'd be looking at 30 for Matty Crouch too, and the finger worry. 28. Okay, that's younger than I thought. What about Crouch's numbers? That I thought he was older. That's negligent by me. This could be the one. I'll tell you what, I'd love to pair them together. Has Frothy got any... So this is it. Know your opponents too. Know who they support. He hasn't got any Adelaide players. And he's starting to mix. That could be the one. And I'd love to pair that back with Titch. But then my worry is, am I going to be able to get, in 3 rounds' time, the way they're going, the likes of Alex Witherden? I'd freaking love Elliot. If Elliot was still there, the way I'm going, I think I can go win now as well. Zach Fisher. Zach Fisher will be gone within the next 3 rounds. I can guarantee you that. Would love to grab George Wardlaw and keep that around too. See, these ones, like Sanders, I guarantee after his game the other day will go early, and I don't like it. Harmsy I like as a forward. He could round out my forward line real well too. But I'm really low on defenders. And again, it's not something I'm overly worried about at all, to be honest. Yeah, we're going to go Matt Crouch. Matt Crouch and really hope that Titch comes back. It's 14 picks away. Sullivan, we need some... Rob won't go off the board. The finger issue worries me. I think I'd be better off having Titch, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'll be a lot better having Tom Mitchell. 28 though. Let's see if we can double pair them. There's quite a few Collingwood supporters in here too, and one Adelaide supporter, and I just said that. Let's go Tom Mitchell and try and pair that with Crouch, and we'll see how we go here. I don't let the inbox know. See if I can get some live picks going. This makes for great viewing here, doesn't it? Me grabbing my phone and fuck it, we'll leave it. Tom Mitchell, followed by Daniel Curtin by the Relaxed Maniacs. Oh, that is absolutely shocking. Would have been undrafted, I think. There, Scotty. I think you've absolutely reached at one. Yeah, don't love that pick. Blitzarves, Ruck mid. Nah. Callum Mills, don't mind holding on to Mills. We spoke about that. It'd be interesting to see when they come off the board. Callum Wilkie, George Wardlaw, one I shouted. Mr. Steele, yo, girl. That is a very, very good pick, I think, Wardlaw. Zach Fisher follows that. I did have him on my list. I wanted to take him. Don't know if this is the spot. Defensive status, a forward defender, so actually pretty fucking handy. Not the worst pick, because you'll get the swing. And I think his average will be okay as well. TA off the board. This is where we're starting to get, I told you, that forward run. We started it. Even though we took a midfielder. We started it around early. Everyone's panicking now, though, because the forwards are here. Warpedo, Riley Sanders, another one. Would have been undrafted. I don't think anyone's taking... This is just some pracky match rubbish. Ed Richards had some good scores, depending on the role. If the role's there, it won't be too bad. Dockers with ball don't line, mid only. Maybe the mids are getting desperate. Zach Bailey, Rob, and Jeremy Cameron. Rob, Millsy did think that he took a Ruckman and he didn't, so that's probably where that happened. There's still a lot I like here, and Matt Crouch came back, and we could kind of solidify that midfield. It was just a hand injury. Who else is here in the midfield, though? I don't want to be taking Crouch and then being like, oh, I could have had this. I could have grabbed this midfielder late. One thing that I haven't done yet is probably because I'm doing a lot of sorting before I come in here, is have a look at mid-onlys. Pendles, Crouch, Crispy, Amon will probably get defender status, potentially. We don't know if he'll get the winger thing. I can't believe no one's taken Bailey Smith and stashed that with some of the stashes that have been on the board. I tend to think Rowbottom's one I want later too. Sorry, not Rowbottom, James Jordan's one I want later. Rowbottom I don't actually mind. Just make sure I haven't missed anything, because I do think that Ginby, late round flyer as well. I do think that Crouch actually has the potential to be a level above most of these midfielders. One of them will pop out, like one of them always does. But I think Crouch is probably the best here, Sebra. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. No, I think I'm going to straws here. All right, Matty Crouch, we did call it. And then we'll probably come back, depending on the forward. We'll have a look at it. But Matty Crouch off the board. Alright, so after I was on the clock, I don't think I gave Jeremy Cameron enough credit before as well. Finn Callahan, Jakey Lloyd, Duggan, okay, could have that midfield role. Crispy, don't hate it. I've marked Witherden here too. I mean, I can't believe that there's some of these names on the board going ahead of Witherden. Would you be surprised if he took every single kick in? They're going to get absolutely annihilated most weeks. Lukey Parker should get forward status. Well, don't hate it. Love the Elliot Yo. That's probably where I would have... I would have gone with it before Yo. And then probably tried to get Yo next after that. Who's in the clock? Let's just make sure I haven't missed anything and what we're going to try and have a look at next as well. Again, Baz, probably a good stash, realistically. And I might even look at it early. No, it's a season, but you can stash on the bench and it does not hurt. James Jordan, would that be too early next round? Harms I like as well, he's a little bit older. Because James Jordan's on like 22. I'm not going to go Finn McRae, he will go because Collingwood supporters will take him. I don't like Billings, not here. Look, McDonald is a nice defender that scrapes down here. 80 to 90, I think. Even with that stacked team. Actually, look, is he injured? I'm not even worth checking it, but then here is one late. A6, because he's a forward as well. Yeah, that could be one in a couple of rounds. I'm not going to go here. Phillipou I like late too. Let's just not go too deep and we'll go it again. Yeah. Alright, so last pick that I had was in round 10. So last pick on the video that I had was in round 10. Working today, so I wanted to make sure that I got a couple of picks off the board, just not to slow down the draft. The aim of this is to get the content out for everyone. So I took Alex Witherden. Off the board came Bailey Humphrey, Scotty Pendlebury, Adam Sard, Mason Wood, Baz. Now, I like the Baz pick. We had a bit of a chat in the disc today, and a lot of people were saying it was a little bit too early. This is a keeper league, and Bailey Smith is the ideal keeper, whether he's at the Doggies next year, Pies, Geelong, wherever he ends up going. He's going to be a forward, and I just think it's super, super handy, even if he's not. So I loved the Bailey Smith pick. There's not too many players. Like, have a look what's around it. Mason Wood, I'm starting to understand. Like, Riley Bonner coming after that, but prefer Bailey Smith. I don't even know the bottom pick. The Come Express, yeah, probably preferring Bailey Smith in the future. And the way I explained this too was that if you're not in that win now window, grab it, stash it. Works well. Weddle, Cox, Rochelle, Vlas, Hopper, Yuck, Grindwise. I had my pick. And on the board you can see there was a little bit. I like the Ginby reach. Keep going, Rebecca Gibney. Ginby reach too there from Reshcat. You have a look at the window here, and I don't mind Windhanger. I know the broken hands there. Age profile is perfect. I think he's going to play mid this year. It's going to be an 80-ish, if that. But one that I don't mind having a look at and stashing. I think what I'm trying to do here in this middle window is it's about upside. It's about what are those players that I can get that can have the potential to do something. You can see that I've got Tanner Bruin sitting in my queue here at 21 with Geelong, with Guthrie injured and Dangerfield getting old. I think their plan is going to be Bruin's going to play a lot more midfield minutes this year, and hopefully we launch him. But that was round 10. 11, I didn't want to slow this draft down, like I said, so we kept going. So Rioli, great pick by Dane. Dane's drafted really well, I reckon. Lucky Ash, Benny Keys, Will Setterfield, Cam Rayner. Now we start talking about that, what could be. Now, I think Cam Rayner holds forward status this year, but I think he plays mid forward. I think he's like a poor, very poor man's Heaney. It's more of a, let's roll the dice, let's flick it out, let's take another forward off the board and let's see what we can do. Matthias Philippou by, he's a Saints fan. That's JB. I'm not going to lie, I had Philippou on my list. I mean, later rounds, but One I didn't mind stashing. Norton Zorko. That's a win now pick. I don't hate that either. I think that's if you're in the win now window, Zorko can be alright picking him up here. Start of 13. Cam Guthrie. He's going win now. Cosy Pickett, Jaden Hunt, Blake Acres, O'Mac, Tom Lynch, Connor Nash. I must say, Lukey Parker's injury had come out today. I know you go back 20 minutes ago in this video and I said, I like Luke Parker pick, he's going to be forward. Broke his arm today. So that completely rules out Luke Parker and basically any keeper draft, I'd say, wouldn't really be looking at it. You don't want to stash it. You'd probably pick him up at the waivers at some stage towards the back end of the year, to be honest. So do not draft Luke Parker. The Nake plantar out there too. What's that going to mean? I think it may mean Nake. I don't know if it's going to be worth holding. People might, but I could potentially get a late flyer at Naismith here. Draft him with potentially for the last pick if there is no other Ruckman. So this shit happens. Tanner Bruin. Let's go have a look what's on the board quickly. Walker Cameron. Andy McGrath, I don't mind. That'll come off. Matty Flynn injury news today, 12 weeks as well. So there's also Bailey Williams too that I could grab late. The two Port boys. Finlayson. Oh, he's a real handy win now. He's not a keeper, but he's a real handy win now. And Rucks as well. So I don't think they will play two Ruck. I think they'll go Jeremy Finlayson in the Ruck again this year. And I think he's going to do 90. Well, it was 85 last year. But do I really want another Port Adelaide player? Probably not. May, Caldwell, Simpkin, Will Drew, Zach Williams. That's the other one. That's the other one I really like. He's 22. He's going to play on the wing. I think he'll hold that wing for probably a long time in his career. I do have to be prepared. There's no Sydney Swan supporters in this draft. There definitely is. And Tanner Bruin's going to be locked into the guts. Harms is one I like as well, just as a real late pickup. I'm struggling here, but I'm okay because defense bats deep. And every year, there's players that are around the 200 to 300k in Classic that can jump up and do 85 to 90. It just happens. Ollie Florent, I reckon I can get it real late, and he averaged 75 last year. Can he add 5 points on that? Definitely. Will he? Who knows? Let's go. Yeah, let's go Tanner Bruin. Resh Dog's put himself on auto pick. Don't know how I feel about that. That's a risky play in something like this. Okay. We'll come back for my round. What will that be? 14. So I didn't want to slow anything down. We can see we're up to pick 200, which is round 17 for me. So my last round was 13. Yep, so round 13, I think. Yeah, round 13 was Tanner Bruin, Tommy Powell-McGrath, Prestia, Oscar Allen, all relatively normal picks. So I picked Tanner, just that youth profile. I mean, you can see a couple of my teams have been revealed, and I'll talk through them anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. 14 comes around. I got James Jordan. So you see, completed the forward line of Dusty, Flanders, Heaney, Rayner, Jordan. I'm pretty confident Heaney and Rayner probably keep the forward line status next year with forward mids. Flanders potentially to do that. I don't think he will, and James Jordan won't because he's going to be a winger. But 22, so that's a guy that can kick around for a couple of years, that 85, potentially a keeper, might not be, but that's okay. It was a late round. It's a round 14 pick. What difference does it make? The midfield core is what I'm after. So Oliver, Rosie, Rao, Mitchell. If Crouch does it again this year, he's a keeper. Horn, Francis, and Tanner Bruin. Tanner Bruin, bit of a flyer. I spoke about when I picked that. He could emerge now. It might be later. They might not even be keepers. Some of these players don't become keepers. That happens. So, here we go. We've got the 5 there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, 12 keepers. And it can change. So, I don't want... Moving forward, my plan here became... I don't want to make too much priority on just pure keepers because it doesn't happen. Some of them don't emerge. So now, as we can see, as I come into 15 after 14. So we'll go Lukosius, Caldwell, Stephen May. Love this pick. This was one that was on my radar. It was still there. Would have been my next pick. So great pick there, Mitchie. Tex, yuck. Josh Ward, yuck. Liam Henry, I don't mind either. Like, I think he'll do exactly what I just said about James Jordan, but probably to a tick above. Darcy Cameron, 15, and this is a pisser. This was a pisser in this draft. So we got a couple of funny things to recap on. Connor McDonald, Henry Hustwaite. What the fuck? Henry Hustwaite. What? That's a guy that's not going to go picked in 95% of leagues that go down. What the fuck were you thinking? Oh, salty. Shocking pick. Shocking. Better Charlie Dixon. Now, Finlayson was still on the board here. We don't know what Port are going to do at the time we're recording. They've still got one pracky match to go. I would have gone Finlayson. I think he got the ruck upside there too. Lucky Schultz. Small forward. Don't like him. We'll never pick him. Connor Iden. The Bude. I think there's probably better on the board. And I took Luke McDonald here. Again, probably better. But when he's fit, he'll play them all. I think he improves on that 77.9. I know they like to get the kids down back there. He's a roost of a kick. I expect that to be 80 plus this year. Jeremy McGovern. I don't know why I didn't take Jeremy McGovern, actually, ahead of Luke McDonald. That was probably an oversight for me. Yeah, big time. I know, I think I was trying to get the draft going. I don't know, working. But that's bad. That is a bad mistake from me. Well done, Will. Good capitalise on that. Yuck. This is Oscar getting sucked in, I think, to Classic. I think. 178. There's better, there's worse. That's a nothing pick. There it is. Reshkat. Thank you. Boom. Donga. Thank you. They're the ones. They're the ones that should have been ahead of Lockie Schultz. Should have been ahead of Charlie Dixon, Ainsworth, McDonald. They're the two. Harms, you got to look for this. It's a roll. Midfield, roll. Like, that can be 80, 85, optimistically 90 plus. Finlayson, he's done it before. Could be high. They're the ones I like. Moving teams. Roll. Look for rolls. Maynard, Dane's had a pretty good draft. I want to see this. I feel like I'm complimenting him a lot. Sheasel Andrews, Rioli, Maynard, Neil Walsh, Parker. That's unlucky when he took Parker. Breaks up next day. Crispy. Nick Martin, great pick, becomes a defender. Holmes, great pick, becomes a defender. Grundy, Rankin, Olin, Larky, Harmsy. Yeah, that could be good too. I like this. It needs to go midfielders now because these two are going to be defenders. And if he starts stacking up too much in the midfield, well, it'll be interesting to see what he does. Finn McRae, upside pick, don't hate it. Jai Simpkin, I think he's out of favour there now. George Hewitt out of favour. I went Jeremy Howe. I know he didn't play in the Pracky for the Pies. Injured, should be back round one. Again, it's the exact same as the... I was going to say, my boy, what's his name take? Where is... Oh, D's nuts. McGovern, sorry. Same as the McGovern pick. I like that. They're players who have historically done it. They're not going to go to 100, but they're putting points out on the board. Do like that. Salem, I like. Sickness and health is everything there. So this is why I try and go midfield heavy, because we start to have a look at... there it is. We start to have a look at midfields that could have been anything, and they become this. They become this little mess of, I don't know what's happening. Small forward. Zach Bailey's alright. Caleb Daniels alright. Jacko's good. Omac, great for draft. Dale. Duncan could, don't like that at all. Avoid in keepers. Avoid. Because that's an injury away from the career being done. The Tomahawk. Paddy Dangerfield. Unless you're like a real win now, avoid. The Wang I like, but this midfield, it started off so well and it's just ended out for half a season. It's still injured, isn't he? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, yuck. Lions, why? There's better midfields on the board. Who took Tommy? Yeah, Tommy. Oh, yeah. There's better. Still, side bottom was better. That's okay. So back to my team. Yeah, I went back. I missed the win hanger one too. Did I not go to 14? Oh. No, I took win hanger before, didn't I? Okay, yeah, that's alright. 17. 17 comes around, and we can see I got Hardwick ticked here. I will take Hardwick. Ben Hobbs, I love that pick. That was a great pick. I think it'll be alright. Sexton. Nice. Going to become a defender. Can move down back. I don't know how strong the defence is, but there was the Lions. So that's the Jared Lyons pick. Let's have a look what midfielders are on the board right now, because I just shut all over it, and I probably didn't give it the check it actually deserved. Would have I preferred Jaeger? I don't know. Ellis, would have preferred Lockie Hunter. Than Lions, because at least I know Lockie Hunter's playing. Now, I could be wrong. At this time, Brizzy's Prucky still to go. Would have preferred Will Brody, just off the preseason. Would have preferred Gaff. Yeah, probably not too much more. Fuck. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I hope people don't have mids to still pick, because it is getting slim pickings, and that's why I love to attack mids early. Because they score your points, it gets late, you can find defenders. I'm going to take Hardwick now. Again, it's just a 80s. That's all I'm picking. I don't need to look for the next kid. I don't need to take super risks. Sometimes draft's okay to be boring. You need a couple of those boring players to go along for the ride. That's how you win it. And yeah. Well, sorry, you win this by your picks through the year. That's where you win it. And join in every week, because we're going to get on. We're going to have a look what's there. We're going to talk about it. You're on the clock. Not too many rounds left, but that's it. That's the defense done. And it was you can see it's not the sexiest defense in a keeper league. It's nothing that's going to set the world on fire, but it's very, very, I think, minimal risk is that Luke McDonald's not going to go below 70. Howe's not going to go below 70. I think they're both going to be 80-ish. Hardwick's not going to below 70. 80-ish as well. Witherden, could be anything. Has the upside. It was an earlier pick than the rest. Windhanger, probably going to play midfield when he comes back. They're pretty safe to go along with that core of players that I think I'm going to keep. Right now, keeper next year. Witherden, 1. Oliver 2, Rosie 3, Rao 4, Horn Francis 5, probably Tanner Bruin 6, 7 in Flanders, 8 in Heaney, 9, nah, that could be a gone. But that's how you want it. You want to have where I can go through and I can name 10 keepers before my season starts. Because now I'm good, I'm set in my eyes. And then, yeah, we'll have a look at that. So we will touch. It's going to be the same thing. I'm going to have probably the next couple of picks. And we'll come back to really round this up. Blake Hardwick was round 17 pick. So, again, to keep the draft going, I just continued to pick. Didn't want to slow it down. So, this will be all our remaining picks, 17 through to 22. 18 through to 22, I should say. Sam Duran, Jesse Hogan, IQ. Surprised he was still on the board. Dunga again with Sam Dustin. We'll go through each team at the end of this as well, and pick our thoughts there too. So the Blake Hardwick pick was more about just rounding it out too. So I feel like my midfield's pretty strong. My forwards are relatively strong with keepers, and defenders I've really probably got 1. Or 2 in Windhanger, but Windhanger will probably become a midfielder only next year. Potentially keep, maybe not. So it's good to just round it out with some other pieces. Some players that were probably, besides Hardwick had a good year last year, Supercoach terms, draft-wise. Jeremy Howe and Luke McDonald were probably a little bit down. Mackie D still got the injury, but should be good round 1. Ed Langdon, Zane Dersma. Suresh Cut just trying to stock one there. Thompson Dow, that was right after the Pies game. So, nice little pick there by Oscar. I went Matty Cottrell before Carlton had played. Mainly as a Bomps pick. It was an ode to Bomps. So Zach Williams, good pick. Scotty, didn't realise that was still floating around. That's one that I probably should have had a look at. Probably should have had him on the board a little bit earlier. To be honest, didn't realise it was there. The injury concern comes with that as well. But Zachy Boy should put out some good numbers. Fritter, Daniels, Graham. So we're really just looking at straws. Massimo D'Ambrosio. 19. Campbell Chapman. Said Ross could pick late. Soldo. So this is something we're going to bring up. People drafting 2 Ruckman in a keeper draft. No. So we'll have a look at my ruck pick, and I basically only took it because the rucks was starting to come off the board. But I'm not concerned because I'm not too sure if it was a play by a couple of the boys to try and maybe stockpile rucks that they can try and use as trade bait. I don't know. I've heard a couple of people say that, what happens when my players on the bye? You stream a ruckman that week. Maybe they're trying to get in early for that. I don't know. But I can guarantee you at some stage I'll be able to have a crack at probably a Van Soldo. There's another one, and we'll talk about this because it was a big oversight. Frothy, who drafted his ruckman early. So who is his ruckman? Darcy Cameron. Jared Witt, sorry. Jared Witt's in round 7. Great pick, not too early. But then he's gone and paired that up with Darcy Cameron in round 14, and that is just bizarre. Bizarre. Let's have a look at what was on the board in round 14. Paddy Lapp. That was just before he was picking anyway, wasn't it? It was right at the end. So basically, I have to have a look at round 15. And I still think there's probably some good names that would have helped him on the board. Bood. I took McDonald. And again, that was an oversight. Probably should have had McGovern. Harms. Finlayson. Billings. I think I might have got the Billings one wrong too. You'll hear me talk about that in the potties. It might just be time to stop being so difficult and get Billings in the team. Anyway, so I took Weeders. Has averaged 95 before. 85 last year. The concern is the injury at the start. He's too good not to be on a roster for keeper, and especially with how my team's going now, I do probably have to grab an extra defender with the injury proneness of my team too. So, like I said, I'm not going to grab Ruckman. That's okay. Weeders, Neil Borden, Samson Ryan, odd. Going to be a forward only, but got ruck forward, so that could be useful. DPP players in draft, super handy. You can have a look at what I've taken here just for the flies on the bench. Jakey Lever. I think he'll have a better year than he did last year too. Brendan Ellis, Hunter Clark, again another stash. Who knows when he comes back? Stringer, this is all boring. I decided to take the ruckman off the board in 19, and it was simply because the ruck stocks were starting to get low. Big Sammy Draper's still there, which I think will probably. I did and ah between Draper and Williams at that stage. So Hunter, great pick. Very Sheldrick I like. Barras I like. Will Phillips I like too, except mid only. Should get DPP though. Caleb Windsor. I'd say that might have been during the game because I think I come back on after the game. Elijah Hollins. People probably just listening to bombs. Harry Mackay. Brad Hill, again, it was just all about mid-forward swing. And I was pretty intoxicated at that stage too, so I just took a pick to keep the draft going. And round 22, Sitas, Riley West, Nick Watson, Andrew Gaff. I will make my pick. Again, probably should have had a look. See, when you're stockpiling, I think Matty Flynn probably would have been almost the better stockpile for some ruck depth if someone wanted to do it. No, sorry, that's not going to work because he's going to be his first 8 to 10, so not really going to be able to cover a buy. Draper's the one. Draper's one that should have been, I think, especially whoever had Todd. Oh, well, the Todd Goldstein's probably not linking up. That's Rashad, and he's going to probably drop Todd Goldstein anyway. Ollie Florence kind of standing out here for me. Why am I searching? We'll have everything else open just in case something pops up. But Was an oversight. Well, literally. Probably too many point scorers at power, where I don't really want to go the Illyria one. Oh, Dane Rampy. Is he done? Could he go back to 80? When was the last time? Injured last year. 2022. Average score of 60. Yuck. 2021. Man, jeez, a fall from grace for Dane Rampy. Darcy Wilmot might have a wing too. That's not the worst defensive pick. Whether he plays round 1 or not. Nah, I think I'm going to do the... Might go Ollie Florent. I think it's just a little bit safer than Rampy. He was meant to be the boy that just exploded and went next level for years and years and years. He's always been a pretty high draft pick, so to grab him at the end of the draft doesn't bother me. Yeah, we'll leave that there, because what I'll do is I'll wait for the draft to finish, and then I'll go through and do a recap of everyone's team, where I think they are. And, yeah. So, the draft is now finished. Bear with me, because it's been super temperamental. So, I have finished my lineup. Blake Hardwick, Alex Witherden, Luke McDonald, Ollie Florent, Jeremy Howe, Weeders, and Marcus Windhanger on the bench. So, I really need to kind of hope that I can get to round 1, basically with the playing team. If Jeremy Howe's out, I might have to drop one of my bench players and have a look at that. But that's okay. Clary, Rosie, Rao, Mitchell, Crouch, Horn, Francis, Tanner, Bruin. I do have forward mid, so like Bradley Hill. Oh, come on. Stop doing this. Windhanger, but I reckon I might need to get a little bit more. Oh, Crottrell's there too. So, look, we're sitting there. I'd love to fix that midfield depth. I don't think Tanner Bruin's going to be a high scorer early days, but definitely a fantastic hold, I reckon, moving forward. Actually, in all fairness, if he can come out and do 75 to 80 this year, that would be huge. That would actually put me right in the box seat, I think, to compete. It's just that spot there. However, looking through everyone else's draft and seeing what they had to offer, I think my midfield stacks up probably the best of the bunch. In a real modest way. Ruck, Bailey Williams, we know what that is. Matty Flynn's still sitting there as well, so I'll have that option come down the line. Other Ruckman will emerge. Like, they have to. We'll talk about that as we go through each team. There's just some people who have done some funny things. Yeah. Forwards, I love them. Not really worried about Dusty or Flanders after preseason. It is what it is. Again, we were talking about this in the potty the other day. But yeah, more than happy to run that. Pretty happy. So, the plan is now, I'm going to go through each team. I'm going to give them their rank, 1 to 11. Obviously, I'm going to leave myself out of it. And basically, the ranking's going to go, drafting for the future, I think takes a lot of relativity, but competitive for now. And also, do I think they can win it? Yes or no? So, this is JB. Hayden Young, Nick Blakey, Ed Richards, Wayne Miller, Jaden Hunt with JJ there. Solid defense. Really like the Hayden Young pick. Great defense there. Tom Green, Jack Viney, Jai Newcomb, Jordan DeGoey. Awesome, 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 awesome. It's going to get a little bit rougher for here. If George Wardlord can take that second year step, going to be good. I think Seb Ross definitely on the decline. And what can Josh Ward do for him? That's the one, because his bench is Angus Sheldrick. So it was really, really solid, and then it gets a little bit light on. I think this might hurt him a little bit. Romo, keep it for years. Forward line's taken a bit of a hit, but I like a couple of these as longer terms. Like, I like Sexton. We've seen what he done the other night. He's got Baz Linker there. Now, I think this is what I love most about JB. It was the balls to take Baz Linker when everyone else kind of didn't want to do it. And I think that's just a great hold on the year. Overall draft for the future and now, I had JB sitting as, I think, what do I have it there? As the 4th best team. And I like it. I think he can be relatively competitive now. I don't think this is the team that's going to win it, but I really like it moving forward. He's drafted a very, very good age profile. The Newcomb, the Green, DeGoey, still, I know he's getting on now. George Wardlaw, great one. Picking up bad. So that's a long term. So he kind of took that hit now to be good over the next probably 1, 2, 3 years. So I was really, really happy with JB's team. There's just a couple of things that I think may let him down a little bit. Langford, Ainsworth, but they're minuscules. Like, every team's going to have this, JB. So I know you're first off the bat. I think you've got a very good team. I think it's going to be competitive. I don't think you'll win it, but I like what you've done for the future as well. So that's where you go there. So you were the 4th rated team. And it was really tough doing these ratings. So splitting the rating, especially the top 6 and the top 6 and the bottom 6, I think, well, top 6 and bottom 5 were pretty easy to differentiate, but then just where to put everyone was kind of the one. Perko. So Tom Stewart, Jaden Short, Callum Wilkie, Nick Blastuan, Will Powell. If you haven't realised so far yet, it is for the now. Dean Mack and Darcy Wilmot. I liked his role the other day. Rory Laird, Sam Doherty, Took Miller, Hugh McCluggage, Mason Wood, Blake Acres. So some nice ones there. Where did I have him? Yeah, I think some nice ones there. Rowbottom, Lockie Hunter, Timmy English, great pick. Ruckman for a long time. Tex Walker. Now, this is where it kind of got a little bit weaker for Perko. The screen keeps freezing, which isn't great for context. Yeah, so Charlie Dixon, Joe Danaher, Jade Gresham, Jack Graham, Tex Walker. I think the forward line's going to have some real bad weeks and some, it'll have some okay weeks, but I think it's going to definitely have some real bad weeks. Perko, you slid in at 7, and it's not a knock. It's just the rating of short-term and long-term. And it's funny because you slide in at 7, but you're definitely in the win now window. So it's a good team. He started really well in this draft. I think he faded a little bit later. I think he kind of made some very questionable picks when there was certain players on the board. But I love the midfield depth, and that's something I normally really like. I think he's going to be okay, and I think he's a chance to win it. He definitely has a chance to win it. But yeah, I had him, what did I say, 7? Yeah, I had him at 7. So, yeah. Team next to us. God, this is frustrating. Oh, sorry. Was it the right spot? Resh Dog. Now, this is another team I like because he managed to secure some pretty solid defensive, very similar to myself. Got some pretty solid defensive options to go with the rest of his team. Bergman, I don't mind either. But Dunkley, Sarong, Warner. Like, great midfield core. Atkins, it gets shitter here. Prestia Hewitt. Ginby's going to be good, but he's not going to score high. I like the Hunter Clark stash late. I thought that was a nice one too. Max Gawn, absolute steal. I know there's some trading going on already. After Gawney's the other day, people are trying to get Gawney off him as well. He got a bit of a kick down because he had auto draft on, and stupid mistake he's made, which has caused him to have Todd Goldstein as well. Dillmore, who knows, with the glandular fever. Finn, Machida Owens, I love in any draft. Like, if you can get him at the right price, I think it's such a great pickup. Dersma West. So we get to the bunch of forwards, and it kind of, tapers away a little bit there. But that sorted him at 6. So I had him at 6, Perko at 7. That's where we were so far. Oh, God. Mitchie, so jumpers, another good draft. It was, another reasonably good draft. Bailey Dale, Mitch Duncan, Adam Sard, Nazaya, great pick, Steve May. So, again, a nice little healthy balance of youth and some serious players down back. Butters, Anderson, great picks. I mean, Butters was early, but still fantastic. Kind of slims off a little bit. Will Day's going to have to stash Callum Mills. It's going to hurt him for a little while. That's okay. Dom Sheed, Jacob Hopper, don't love. Jared Lyons, don't love. Jared Berry, don't love. So, Berry will do enough. I don't think even Lyons will even be there. It's a good mix of the youth with some players that are around there. I think maybe he could have gone a little bit harder at that midfield attack. This is one that I hate big time. Omac with Soldo. The only reasonable explanation I can have a look at here is he thought No, and this is even wrong now too. So he's grabbed Omac, and the thing that I was trying to justify it there with Soldo, Omac's got the early buy, so maybe he wanted to do that, but he's also got Luke Jackson. So I would have rathered that Soldo pick in that area to be another forward, to be another midfielder at that stage that would have definitely helped him a little bit more. Take that flyer, because he's got the cover in Luke Jackson for that ruck round. So I think, Mitchie, I think you've drafted okay, but I think you've made a couple of errors along the way, and that's normal. We do this every draft. I had one where I should have taken McGovern. Just oversight. We missed things. And that happens. Lockie Schultz, Zach Bailey, Brent Daniels, who again is hurt as well. Well, that ankle the other day, whatever he done to that, and Charlie Lazaro. But I did like this team. So he slotted in at 5th because I do think this is another team that if he just touches up a couple of things and a lot goes his way, it could be win now. The 12 keepers is the one that is kind of interesting here. You've got to... I think he's got like 5 or 6 sure thing keepers, but what's he going to have a look for the rest? So I had Mitchie going in at 5. Phoenix, which is Dave, number 2. He's not going to be Dave, number 1, because that'll always be frothy. Cox, Buckley, Chase Jones, Kitty Coleman, Heath Chapman, Tommy Barras. Not bad. And Caulfield as well. Don't like it. That's a classic pick. It's not really a draft pick, but whatever. Bont, Chera, great start. He had Bont. He paired it up with Chera. Like, he had the potential to be the number 1 team. Like, no doubt about it. Jack Steele. Then Liam Henley, Riley Bonner, Colby McKercher. Colby McKercher should be not someone who's coming off the draft board high. Like, that should be a real back end. Riley Sanders, probably a little bit more optimistic, but Henry Huswaite shouldn't have been drafted. Like, should not be going in one of these drafts if you want second last round. Like, there's every chance that these guys go out and score 60. They're too hard to hold in this. Tristan Cherry, nice little hold. A-Naught, Pickett. Zach Fisher, great pick there. Cam McKenzie, Harley Reid, Caleb Windsor. It's the last draft grade. He's 11th out of here, and it's just because you've focused too much on the future, and you had the number 2 pick, and could have paired that with some really good shit. Like, I want to be pick 1 or 2, and he started so well. This just could have been a top-tier team with still some of these players like Harley Reid and Sanders and McKercher, because he could have got them all so much later, but had that talent, and then I would have been like, okay, he's paired some great youth with some fantastic talent. You then get into that win now window, still by having the youth as well later. You can then top it up, and it's hard. I get it's his first draft, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him, but I think if you are doing your first draft, don't look too far to the future. Those who used to love playing FIFA career mode or NBA career mode and picking up the young talent and nurturing them. It's tougher in a draft. It's frustrating getting slapped every single week in a draft league. Fell to 11. Oscar, loved this. It was a good draft. A couple of mistakes. Just a couple. Yep. So, great defense. Fantastic. Lloyd, Ridley, Whitfield, McGrath, Taylor, Brodie Smith. Very consistent call. Mackay, don't really care. Doesn't need to be there. LDU, Errol Goulden. They were pick 1 and 2 and then paired it up with... I think it should have been Gawn at that stage, but he went Sean Darcy. And then Trelaw, again, kind of... especially the age profile, shocking. But LDU, Goulden, Trelaw, Dangerfield, needs to get down. He can trade, and this is one thing that Oscar can do, is Oscar's stacked with defenders. I know there's heaps more defenders out there, and it's kind of like easier to pick up defenders, but you'll get some people who still want a good defender. So maybe that's where he looks at. He looks at trading a defender and picking up an extra forward, because the forward line, I think, is where he becomes a little bit weak. There's no harm in playing players in their DPP position, using Yo as a mid. I'm fine with that. Good swing. TD, Thompson Dow, Xavier Dersma. I don't hate that dartboard throw either at Dersma. I don't think he's going to do much, but I don't hate it. Sean Darcy, good ruckman, good for the future. Again, I think Max Gawn here would have fucking nailed this team. But it is what it is. Toby Green, great pick. Benny Keys, yeah, should do enough to get 75 to 80. Jesse Hogan has that great start fixture run. I don't mind Jesse Hogan as a late round pick. Like, second last, third last round, pick him. Because could go on a rampage early, and that's what you need in draft. You can just stream key forwards throughout the year. If you're consistent enough and stay on, you can use that stream spot to just get players who are going to bully North Melbourne or West Coast. It's nice and easy. Paddy Lapp looked fantastic the other day. Jack Billings starting to look really good too. Nick Watson, take the flyer. Oscar was team 2 for me. Team 3. And it was stiff. It's a great draft. I think he only went team 3 because there was just a couple of things that I thought could have been better. But really well drafted. Millsies, Luke Ryan, Dan Houston, Darcy Moore, Connor Iden, Christian Salem. Exact same thing I said last one. Great, just core defense that's going to be solid, that you haven't used too many high picks. Probably went Luke Ryan a little bit too high. But yeah. Can Oscar win it this year? Yes, he can. Will he? I don't know. I don't think so, but he definitely can. Oh, no, he definitely can. Luke Ryan, Dan Houston, Darcy Moore, Christian Salem, Thingo, McGovern. Can't just say Thingo. Petrarca, Kelly, Josh Kelly, Paddy Cripps, Scotty Pendlebury, Blitzars, Will Brodie, Will Drew, Bailey Scott. Now, Bailey Scott is another one that I kind of think that can just do enough and be very serviceable. Same as William Drew. And if Will Brodie gets going, that's a great midfield core for win now. Like, really, really good. Rob, I think, can stand alone. Curnow, Hawkins, Caldwell, Mackay, Fritter. There's a lot of worry and a lot of could go right. You know, you just need the key forwards to step up and consistently go 70 to 80 plus. Tom Lynch in there as well. I don't mind it. I don't love it. I like a little bit of versatility. But Mills grew a real strong rating for me on the win now factor. I love that he's kind of batted a little bit deeper in the midfield. I probably could have and should have... Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to change my ratings on the fly. Oscar's actually going to go 2 and Mills is going to go 3. I had them the other way around, but reading this out and looking at it now, I think Oscar's kind of nailed that youth profile with still being super competitive. Yeah, so Oscar 2, Millsy 3. Well, JB was 4. Mitch was 5. I haven't done 6 yet. Oh, I do need to say sorry about how slow this is being, but here we go. All right, Frothy had pick 1. Nick Dacos. I think this is another one. I love Froth. I love his Supercoach knowledge, and I hope it proves me wrong, but there was a couple of picks along here that I was just very confused about with the Nick Dacos factor. I just think he could have had players that could have gone that little bit better than the ones he did in like Taranto and Parrish. Cornelia, I reckon there was better on the board. But this looks like it's win now mode. Dacos, Liam Baker, Brennan Campbell, Josh Weddle, Mass, Isaac Cumming, do love the Cumming pick. Parrish, Tim Taranto, Cornelio, Warps, Steele, Sidebottom, Jaeger, Benny Hobbs, Guthrie. So he's really hoping that it's basically win now and he can hobble to that line. Oh no, we're now dealing with a freeze. Try and shut some stuff to see if that works. Yeah, stuff freezing isn't ideal. Right, there we go, back out. Will Phillips, Cam Guthrie. Will Phillips pick I do like too. He hopefully should get some defender status. Witsy, this is the one. This is the only thing it's pissed me off and it's going to affect his draft rating. Was Wits in round 7, Darcy Cameron in round 14. Realistically, Darcy Cameron probably shouldn't be drafted in too many teams if Mason Cox is there. Shocking, that mistake. That's a big blunder. I've spoken to Frothy about this. I think that's a big blunder. Yeah. You can stream that Ruckman spot at the end. I don't want to see people making this mistake. You want a second Ruckman? Take him at the back end. I'm happy for that, but not early. Shy Bolton, love it. Zorko, yeah. Adams injured. Fuck. Again, ouch. Unlucky the draft happened and then it happened. Yeah, Frothy, you've probably got a pretty stiff rating here, but I do have you at 9, and I think it's that double Ruckman take. But again, that's I don't think your youth profile's great. That's where I think it's affected it. But you are in win now mode, so I don't mind. And you got Josh Takos, but you had pick one. I think I was a little bit harder on Froth here too, because he had pick one, and I just feel like he didn't pair it well. So I could be wrong. I'm hoping wrong for his sake, but yeah, had you at 9. Danger, Sheasel, Andrews, Rioli, Maynard, Lever, Zach Guthrie. Don't love Zach Guthrie, but that's a great 5. Sheasel leading that. Good pick. Neil, Walsh, Crispy, Nick Martin, could be a defender. Maxi Holmes, could be a defender. Brandon Ellis, again, don't love it, but he's got, Parker there as well. And Ashcroft. Awesome pick. Really good pick. He got that really late, not really late, but mid-roundish. Slotted it in. It's the exact same as I said about Baz. Age profile is perfect. The kid's a freak. Great pick. Brandon Ellis, Ed Langdon. Insanely good midfield. Insanely good. Brody Grundy, Isaac Rankin that I think can improve. Oscar Allen I like. Larky I think is going to have a great year. Harmsy, Sam Darcy, and Elijah Sitsas. Yeah, that's nothing there. Dang, I got number 1. Dang, this is, again, I'm excluding my team. This is the best team from top to bottom talent that can compete now, but could be a powerhouse to deal with in the next couple of years. So, if he can somehow win it this year, we're going to be in trouble. Finding 12 keepers out of this might be a little bit more difficult, but the age profile was perfect. He drafted well. I loved the Sam Walsh pick. He got Neil at a great spot. He just drafted very smartly, Danger, and I really liked it. Loved the Sam Darcy pick up late too. Could work out very well for him. So number 1, Will from D's Nuts. That was Redmond, Rivers, McGovern, Clark, Bowie, Noble, Merritt, Libber, Brayshaw, Amon, Setterfield, Callahan, Fifey. Again, got a little bit weak with a couple of these. I think Carl Amon probably goes behind the ball. Gaff, Sparrow, Durham. Kieran Briggs, I thought he grabbed too early, but looks like it might work well. McRae, Neil Bullen, Stringer, Tom Pout, Finn McRae. Got a little bit weaker there. You hit draft rank 7, Will. Can you win it now? I don't think so. I think the midfield's too weak. Yeah. I don't think you're getting enough points elsewhere. However, you've got a nice little core. Brayshaw. Yeah. I think it's a mid-pack team. No offense, Will. Scotty, Sicily, Sinclair, Hinge, Connor Buderick, Daniel Curtin, hate that, Zach Williams. Curtin didn't need to be taken at all. Again, we don't know. We don't even know if we're picking Curtin in Classic. So I think he wasted a pick there. And we'll talk about this as we go through the team. Elite defense, but sometimes the problem is there's defenders out there that'll go between 80 and 90. There's more defenders that'll do that than forward. So you go put this elite defense, and does it hurt the rest of your team? Jordan Dawson loved it. Dacos, Brad Crouch, Connor Nash, Ollie Wines, Josh Dacos, by the way. Jake Saligo, 4th or 5th midfielder. Matty Johnson, Elijah Hollins. They're all dartboards, and the fact that 2 of them are on the field scares the shit out of me. Nank the Tank with Naismith. Again, Naismith. I think he took it really, really late, but I know it's going to be dropped afterwards, so I don't hate it as much. Jezza Cameron, Grind Myers, Lukosius looked good the other day. Tom Papley, Bailey Humphrey, who I think is going to be hot and a half forward, and Van Rooyen. I just think there's been a couple of mistakes in this draft and too much risk. Too much risk on players that we're not even that certain on. And someone's going to be there, Scotty, but you're at 10 for me. I don't hate the draft, and I hope it goes well. I think you will get wins. I think everyone will get wins this year, probably besides Salty. Yeah, I had you at 10. So just to recap, it was Danger, Oscar, Mills, JB, Mitch, Rash, Perko, Will. Will, I had you at 8 in the end. Frothy 9, Scotty 10, Salty 11. If I said any different numbers before that, it's probably because I was scribbling around as I was going through teams in a little bit more detail. I think there's a lot of people who can win it. I think there's one who can't. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. So basically the plan throughout the year is I will get on, probably have something uploaded maybe every Wednesday or Thursday or something where I'll talk about my waiver claims. I'd love to record the waivers and put them on, but it's just not going to work because I've played with a league full of dogs who are going to snipe me. So I think we will recap. The best advice I can give you if you want draft advice on a week-to-week basis of what you should do, what I'm looking at, is jump onto patreon.com/SC Elites. Follow the links and jump in. $4 a month, unlimited draft advice. Jump in the Discord and start having a chat. Yeah. Look, I've really enjoyed this content. I wish I had it out a little bit earlier. I love everyone that's helped me do this, all these boys in here. It is an ongoing cash league. I think anytime you're having a draft or you're invited to enter a draft, try and have it as an ongoing cash league. The money incentive definitely does help keep the league active. The way we've done it, we've got trades on for future draft picks as well, which will be run by a spreadsheet. So hypothetically, if I try to pick one for pick 3 next year, so round 1 pick for a round 3 pick in a draft, I would just draft the person whose round 1 I gave, and they just draft in the round 3 who I wanted there. Other than that, it's pretty stock standard. $50 a year for us. If you decide to drop out, you have to pay the entry for the person next year, and any future ongoing draft picks, you pay for those consecutive years as well. So yeah, it just keeps the league active and fun. Draft is great. Draft is really good. I'm a huge draft advocate. It's so much fun with your mates. I like Classic better, but it is good to have draft. Be smart. I hope this helped. Peace out. Thank you for listening. Watching.